This is vintage psychology for sleep. A quiet place where nothing is asked of you and everything moves slowly. If you find comfort here, you're welcome to return another night. Some listeners choose to subscribe simply so these stories are waiting for them when the day has grown heavy again. And if this quiet place feels helpful, you may leave a gentle mark below so others searching for rest may find their way here too. You don't need to listen closely. You don't need to remember a thing. If sleep arrives early, this story will continue without you. I'll speak softly for a while. Then a story will unfold, and later the voice will soften even more. Tonight's story:
The vintage cure for carrying everyone else. In those shadowed hours when the house had finally gone quiet, there lived a man who never seemed to rest. Not because he worked too hard, but because he carried too much. His name does not matter now. In stories like this, he becomes many people at once. Perhaps in some small way, he becomes you. He lived in a narrow brick home built before the war, with windows that rattled gently whenever the night wind passed through. Each evening, after the lamps were dimmed and the streets surrendered to darkness, he would sit alone at the kitchen table. The table was scarred with the soft marks of time, cups set down too often, papers spread too wide, worries left behind like rings in old wood. He did not sit there because he enjoyed the quiet. He sat there because it was the first moment all day when no one needed him. All his life he had been the dependable one, the child who noticed when others were upset, the friend who stayed late, the colleague who filled the silence, the one who remembered birthdays, apologies, unfinished conversations. And over time, something quiet had happened. Responsibility had stopped being something he did and became something he was. If a room felt tense, he carried it. If someone else was tired, he felt it. If a plan went wrong, he wondered what he should have done differently. Not because anyone asked him to, but because long ago he learned that being needed felt safer than being free. There is an old psychological idea, spoken of in hushed academic rooms decades ago, about the silent burden bearer, a person who learns early in life that harmony survives only if they hold it together with their own hands. No one tells them to do this. No one assigns the role. It simply settles in, like dust on a shelf. In his childhood home, there had been long pauses in conversation, heavy ones, the kind where emotions lingered unspoken, hovering in the air like smoke. And so he learned to watch closely, to anticipate, to soften moments before they hardened. He became very good at it, so good, in fact, that no one noticed the cost. Years later, sitting at that kitchen table, his shoulders ached, not from labor, but from holding invisible weight. He did not know how to set it down because he had never been taught that it could be set down at all. In his mind, letting go felt like abandonment. And this is where the mind plays its quiet trick. It convinces the carrier that if they stop holding everything together, everything will fall apart. One evening, as rain traced slow lines down the window pane, he noticed something small, a teacup left on the counter by someone else. Normally, he would rinse it immediately, dry it, return it to its place. That night, he did not. The cup stayed there, and nothing happened. No argument followed, no disaster unfolded, no invisible balance was broken. Just the soft sound of rain and his own breathing, rising and falling. This moment, quiet and ordinary, was more important than it seemed, because for the first time his nervous system received a new message. Not everything requires your hands. Psychology teaches us that the body learns faster than the mind. It remembers patterns long after the reasons fade. His body had learned vigilance, tension, readiness. But that night, it learned something else: stillness. He began to notice how often his muscles stayed braced even when he was alone, how his breath hovered shallow as if waiting for someone to call his name, how rest always felt temporary, conditional. So he tried something gentle. He allowed the chair to hold him. Just for a moment. He felt the weight of his back against the wood, the floor beneath his feet, the simple fact that the world was not asking him anything right now. This quiet insight is buried within the story. Responsibility, when carried too long, begins to feel like identity, and identity, once mistaken for duty, becomes heavy. But the mind was never meant to be a shelf for everyone else's needs. As the nights passed, he practiced leaving small things undone, not as an act of rebellion, but as an experiment in trust. A message answered later, a silence allowed to remain, a problem left to belong to someone else. Each time, his body resisted at first, then softened. This softening is important because overburdened minds do not rest deeply. They hover, they listen for disturbances that never come. Sleep stays light, fragile. But when the mind learns that it does not need to stand guard, sleep begins to deepen on its own. Now, as you listen, you may notice places in your body that still feel responsible. Shoulders holding invisible weight, jaw clenched out of habit, a breath paused halfway, waiting. You do not need to fix this, only notice. Let the chair hold you now. Let the bed do its quiet work. Let gravity take back what you have been carrying. You might imagine setting something down beside you, not throwing it away, just resting it on the floor for the night. It will still be there tomorrow if it truly belongs to you. The rain outside slows. The room remains. Nothing asks anything of you. And somewhere between one breath and the next, the old habit loosens. You are allowed to rest without earning it. You are allowed to sleep without holding the world together. And as the night carries on, the mind remembers this truth quietly, gently, until it no longer needs words at all.